What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Omega. Thanks for tuning in once again. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Omega Classic Records is the name and the page. Omega, none rhymes greater. So, I'm coming at you about the Kanye documentary. I watched it the first night it came out. It's called Genius, if you haven't heard about it or seen it yet. And I wanted to just kind of, give my review on the first part of the trilogy. It's about a 3-part series, and they dropped part 1 on February 16th, 2022. And I'm going to say that it's shaping up to be epic. I really like, what I've seen thus far. This is a side of Kanye that none of us have really seen. You think you might know Kanye because of the outbursts and because of the temperament, flaring on stages, whether he's cutting off Taylor Swift or somebody else, but man, seeing this kind of really just kind of shows the genesis of Kanye, and man, he been like that, dog. He's 100% himself. He's a real artist. Quite frankly, they don't make it. They don't make them like that no more. Most of these guys today they're caricatures, and they're walking around with funny names. The thing to do with these rappers of the day now is to have acronyms in front of their rap names. ABC Jack, or, FYZ Max, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So this man is Kanye West. That's that man's name. That's what his mama gave him. You know what I'm saying? I really like this first half. It shows Kanye's beginnings. Him trying to really get his music career off the ground. He's grinding hard, living in New York, running up to the studios every day, all the studios, running up to Rockefeller Records. He was looked at as just a producer. People didn't take him seriously. You get the chance to watch this, you're going to see, Kanye, a young Kanye, going into the office to let some of the people of the day in Rockefeller Records hear his album. I even seen it in one scene where he goes into the office to talk to one lady, Kareem Biggs Burke, laying on the couch. You know what I'm saying? And Kanye in there playing the song he was bringing him was All Falls Down, and you see how people, they gave him about not even 5 minutes, man, maybe like 2-3 minutes, and then people would ignore him. You know what I'm saying? They, shut him down and tell him, hey, whatever. They paying attention to somebody else. They literally give him about 2 minutes and then move on, and people cut the camera off because he got a cameraman with him this whole time. That's how he has this footage from a good friend of his that had been recording him. Really, since he, I ain't gonna say day one, because day one for Kanye is like 7th grade. And he makes that clear. He been making beats and doing this since 7th grade, but I'll say day one being, before he really kind of got into the music loop, like face to face. He was messing with some guys. I heard him earlier, talking about, doing tracks for people from Wu-Tang, doing tracks, and Eminem is damn near on a track or something like that, I believe. He said Eminem jumped on the wax with RZA or something like that. I wanted to cut up scenes of it. I tried that night when it dropped to take and divvy up some scenes and see if I could slap a couple scenes in the review, but they won't let you do it. It's all locked up, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, did tracks, for guys here and there. And then he gets to New York and, he really gets in the thick of it, does that Blueprint album, and, he just keeps on, making cuts for, you're going to see Scarface coming by to listen to Jesus Walks. Originally, Scarface was to be the one to lay the hook on Jesus Walks, but he actually leaves the studio and never comes back. You're going to see Kanye explain, how Izzo, H to the Izzo was written, and Kanye telling his mom how he had came from the studio, and how, Jay ended up picking H to the Izzo, and all of that. And you're going to see, him just really pushing and fighting to be heard. Kanye also made this clear. He didn't start music to be a producer. Like, he started music to make beats to rap on, because he always wanted to rap. But, his beats was just so official, man. You know what I'm saying? And, he really couldn't get the traction that he wanted to come out as an MC, and like he said, these are the times we talking, in the 2000s era, early 2000s, late 90s, an MC in this time, you talking at the top of the league, DMX, Rough Riders, Jay-Z, the Locks. You talking about dudes that was really street dudes, not like these dudes that's caricatures today. These dudes really, fresh off the street for real, and, like gangster shit, you know what I'm saying? So, this kid, Kanye, comes around, and, he's a clean cut kid, he ain't from the streets like that, and everybody kind of just slights him. Everybody kind of, kind of really just more so uses him for his beats, during the time, people playing with him. You're going to see how Dame Dash and them stalling, wanting to keep him around, you know what I'm saying, but not give him a deal, but wanting to keep him around so he can keep making beats for all of they dudes. And you're going to see people like, Joe 3H, I think is his name. He come from Raucous Records, which at the time had Mos Def, Talib Kweli, like as two of their top tier artists, and Mos Def and Talib Kweli really felt like, Kanye should have been over there. They really felt like, he was a great fit for that family, for the Raucous family. So, you're going to see that. You're going to see him get hated on. Doug Infinite, yeah, that dude is trash. Like, that dude literally sat, damn, dropped my water. That dude literally sat with Kanye at like a convention, looked like some kind of, luncheon or whatever. And like he had a problem with Kanye and didn't say nothing. I guess he had read in a Vibe magazine that Kanye didn't mention him in his uprising or in his, coming up or whatnot in the game. And at the time, Kanye was messing with him and messing with also old dude that did Jay's last album, No ID. So Kanye messing with No ID and messing with the dude sitting up here hating, Doug Infinite. And You know what I'm saying? Doug Infinite sitting at the table with him and don't say nothing. But then later on that day, he go on the radio and he like, I felt disrespected by Kanye because, he was reluctant to mention me in whatever context, or like I didn't have nothing to do with it. And then Kanye pulled up on him, was like, hey man, what's up? What's up with that shit? I gave you acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying? I told them. He was like, man, they didn't put it in there, man. I can't explain that. And dude just like, I don't want to be left out of history, on some old fag type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Basically, Kanye at this point in time then done the blueprint and doing more Rockefeller joints, and he's opening up. His star is rising, and niggas like Doug Infinite trash ass is mad about it and sit in your face and not say nothing. So snake shit, but yeah, that's just one leg of the story, and then you'll see Kanye, man, just in the room with all kind of guys. Memphis Bleak, shit. My man Guru, engineer, and I think he's a producer as well. All kind of people all throughout this leg of the story. This is all before Kanye, gets made into, the Rockefeller family. This is before he signed aboard, and it was just a fight, a struggle. You're going to see him eating Burger King and everything else, you know what I'm saying? And one of the most inspiring parts that really hit me hard, that kind of really made me come in here and make this video, was his mother. His mother reminded me so much of mine. And, she told him, he came over there right after the Doug Infinite situation. So, he come back to Chicago from New York and, bam, they go to a convention and it went good, Doug Infinite at the convention. And then, bam, Doug Infinite get on the radio and do all that hating shit. And then Kanye pull up on him, address it. And then Kanye go to the radio. And then he don't hit back at Doug. He kind of, he played it good and professional. And, and then he was still down, but he ends up going to his mother's. And this is where it kind of hit me. This is when, after everything I've heard, you got to excuse my voice, because this part right here, and mind you, this is probably halfway through. It's about an hour and 20 some odd minutes. This is probably like halfway through, maybe not even at the halfway point. But it hit me, when he comes to his mom's, he brings his guys to his mom's. Cootie, that's his film guy. The other brother that's with him, and she was just such a light, dog. Like, Kanye's mom was a teacher. Okay, so this is a woman who, is dealing with kids every day, and I think she was a professor, and she's dealing with young adults every day, saving lives, just being her and teaching. And she don't know he done been through that, but she just totally like lifts him up just with words and just her spirit. She was just such a light. And she says to him, she says, I think you carry yourself well, Kanye, because you're a star. Anybody that works like you do, she said, you make beats like Michael Jordan shoot free throws. And she said, anybody that works like you do, ain't got no choice but to make it. You know what I mean? And she looked at him and she said, it don't make no sense to not talk like a star. And he said, you think I'm arrogant? He's asking his mom, you think I'm arrogant, Mom? She said, no. You got to talk. She basically telling him, you got to talk that shit because you are that shit. She said, I look at you like you a giant. She said, a giant can't see itself in the mirror. And they paused. And then she explained. She said, a giant, he too high up in the air to look in the mirror. But his feet are on the ground. He's still on the ground. She said, I feel like you a giant because she said, you up there, you high in the air. But, you grounded. You still yourself. And that shit just hit me because uh, I think about the stuff my mother has told me in this journey, and I think about the stuff that I've heard about Miss West. Excuse me. And all we know is what Kanye done told us. We don't really know Kanye or his mom. You know, we don't really know what he went through. But this documentary getting ready to give it to you. And just to see that part, you know, it just really gives you an inside look at the man himself. Because your mother, as a man, especially as a black man, you know, no disrespect to anybody watching this, you know, whatever color you are, we have a thing about our mothers where we keep them close and they mean the world to us. I'm not saying it ain't the same for another culture, but for us, you know, it means more than anything, more than money, more than power. It means so much. You know what I'm saying? And you know, to see her, she literally smiles the whole time in the house, and she picks all these young brothers up because they all was down. They walking back from the radio, from the radio station, and you know, niggas is salty, you know, talking shit, and that's just the way it is, and you know, this and that, and you know, Kanye quiet, you know. But by the time she get done with him and she had a drink with everybody, and you know, that shit even lifted me up, dog, as the viewer watching it. You know what I mean? I felt like that was a very important scene in this first act. And I don't know what it's like to lose your mother. But man, I sure hate that for him. I hate that for him because I hate that for any man. But to see how she was with him and how they interacted, she was such a light. I mean, like, dude, she remembered rhymes that he had wrote, like, in middle school and high school and shit. She started spitting one of his rhymes. Like, she was like, I really like that one rhyme, such and such and such and such. You know, talking about the brothers, you know, how she said, she said, something about everybody can't be like me and try to, you know, save the brothers that, you know, ain't nothing out there for drugs, or however she said it, you know. And yeah, man, that shit just hit me, man. You know, I got a lot of respect for him as an artist, and watching this gave me a new respect for him. And I think everybody that has any kind of opinion on him needs to watch this series. He's the last of a dying breed. He is a real artist. He's not like the artist that we have on these assembly lines getting pressed out like metal fabrication plants of today, all sounding the same, all dressing the same and looking the same, and all of them is caricatures and shit. You know, these niggas nowadays come out of the motherfucking factory. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, just like how toys is made to me, you know what I mean? And I ain't knocking them, because there's some of them that I do listen to and that I do respect. But, you know, you got to be honest, you know, you got 10 dudes that look and sound alike, man. You know, something's fishy here. Something ain't official, you know what I mean? And that's just the fact of it. I come from a period of time with music. First of all, music is my foundation. I grew with my mother's music, the Motown sound, and all of that music from her era and generation, and then the music of my brother's era and generation. That's your Run DMCs, your Whodini's, you know, your Eric B. and Rakims, and then I come into my generation, you know, and when I start really seeing how our music starts to pick up and change hands into our time. That's, for me, I'm a little kid looking at Chris Cross and The Brat, Jermaine Dupri, you know, guys like that. You know what I'm saying? And then it grows on into, you know, the 2000s and the 90s, you know, Jay-Z's and Biggie Smalls and Ice Cube, which is one of my absolute favorites, and, you know, so forth. You know what I mean? So I come from that time of music where dudes couldn't afford to be caricatures and toys and shit, man. You know what I mean? Dudes was really trying to get off the streets and trying to, you know, save their lives and save their families. You know, not saying these little guys of today ain't, but it's just a different motivation, a different goal. These little guys, you don't know backstories about them. They come into the game rich already, according to them. You know, they come into the game, you know, already great. You know what I'm saying? How I learned it, you know, nobody comes into nothing great. You know what I'm saying? You have to go through stages to be great. Like Jordan, he didn't come onto the court great. You know, imagine how many shots that he had to take at practice. All the different kind of shots, all the different kind of dunks, all the different kind of maneuvers and just defensive strategies and everything he had to go through. This man probably spent 9-10 years in the league before he even seen a championship. So, you know, the ideal of these little dudes just walking into the door great, you know, that shit means nothing to me. You know, that shit don't even solidify, or it don't validate them to me. You know what I mean? But what we have here is a damn good documentary, and I've only seen the first act. Make sure you do your due diligence and watch it and give that to Kanye. Because across this country, he's looked at in all these different lights. And what I have noticed by looking at social media, a lot of times those lights are negative. You know, I myself have had sometimes a negative perspective on him. But I tell you what, you know, watching just this first of 3 quarters, this first quarter, man, it really was very impressive, and it really helped me garner a new respect for him, because he's a real artist, and they don't make him like him no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. That's the facts. So, but yeah, man, if you got Netflix, get yourself a subscription. If you don't, but if you got it, check this out, man. It's worth every penny of it. If you're an artist, you should be watching it. No exceptions. It's like doing your homework or your push-ups or your sit-ups. If you're not going to watch that nigga, then you're not no real artist to me. You're not serious. And not just to me, but abroad. You know what I'm saying? This is homework. And this is one of the wonderful parts of homework. You know what I mean? Shit like this. You know? It should be, if you really are real about being the artist that you say you are, it should be food for the soul. So that's easy to intake. You know what I'm saying? So get you a Netflix membership. No, they do not sponsor us, but this is the only way that you can watch this right now. So make sure that you get you a Netflix membership and watch it if you're an artist. That's your homework. That's what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? You need to see this, period. I want to thank y'all once again for coming in here, sitting with me, listening to my review on Genius, a Kanye documentary, book 1 or chapter 1, act 1, I think is what they calling it. And man, check out the rest. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. All right, Omega Classic Records is the name and the page. Omega None Rhymes Greater. You know what I mean? And I stand on it. All right, because I am a real artist as well. All right, I appreciate y'all for stopping through. God bless. See y'all in Act 2 for the next Genius episode. I think it comes out February 23rd. So stay tuned. Peace.